Hello, everyone, and welcome to the OnlyBets Sports Podcast. This is going to be a Super Bowl recap, and we're going to look ahead at the day ahead and the best bets in the day of sports. Drew, how are you doing, man? How was that weekend? How did you enjoy that Super Bowl?
It was a good weekend overall, I would say, and like college sports and especially golf. Golf was fun to watch. Of course, we can talk about the recap of that later as well. But I would say the Super Bowl was more, more boring than I would like it. There was some really good, of course, defense. I wanted at least a little more offense going. I'm always a big fan of defensive battle, but I don't think it was more so bad defense. I think it was more so missed opportunities, but we can definitely talk about that.
Yeah, I think we definitely did see that Drake May did not look comfortable in the pocket. And I mean, you know what? To be fair, I know our man Frank from ProPicks said he doesn't like to look at the strength of schedule, but I think we have to look at the strength of schedule here. That I think the Patriots' road to the Super Bowl was markedly easier than the Seattle's road to the Super Bowl was. And I don't know if they faced that elite of a defense. I mean, Seattle played like dark coverage. They only blitzed with 4. They got home and they were able to basically close every single gap. I don't I don't really know where Drake May was supposed to throw to, but yeah, you're right. He did miss a few plays, but again, he's in his second year. It was a very tough, very tough game.
I will say there was people though, like when I was watching it, right? There like the thing I noticed, and I'm not saying this as a salty Niners fan, of course, but something I noticed was there was a lot of wide open people that, Drake May wasn't hitting, like there was probably 6 or 7 wide open people I saw him throw and he missed. There was one on a crosser, like when I think the game was only they were down by like 12 points still, and the guy was wide open on a crosser, and he probably could have ran it like 40 yards. It was just one of those things, and it came out after. I don't know if you saw that his shoulder was hurting. I don't know if it's necessarily true, but I mean, I've seen the Drake May this year. He's usually generally accurate, and it looks like his shoulder this whole playoffs hasn't looked right. So he was the most accurate passer this year, so that could be the case.
Yeah, maybe. I would like to just chalk it up to the best defense won, and I think we've seen that in the last few Super Bowls, and I'm probably going to see that trend continue. Their defensive metrics were just incredible. They held Drake May to minus 0.224 EPA per play. Just to contextualize this, the league average on offensive EPA is around plus 0.05. So New England was essentially hemorrhaging a quarter of a point of expected value every single time they passed the ball, which is literally the bottom 99th percentile. Is the top 99th percentile for Seattle's defense. And then the other side, the Patriots just had a success rate, that correlates to the success rate of just 34% of the time that they have a positive EPA per play. This just was not the game for them. This was an all-out dominant performance by, I think, just the better team. And we all on the show, we all picked the under. Thank God I picked the under in the first half because I did not link that sweat at the end there. That was a little ridiculous. ProPix wasn't able to join us today, but hopefully we'll get him for a little bit of a reaction as well. How did you do on your betting day yesterday?
Oh, I did well. I of course did those two first touchdown scores. I didn't bet that much on it, but I did 3 prop bets. I went 2-1. The one I did is where there'll be a tie after 0-0. That one didn't hit, but I did Travion Henderson 6+ rushing attempts for plus 120, and that hit. And then I also did something because I saw so much money on tails. I saw someone drop 500K on tails, so I bet a unit on heads and it hit. So
Yeah, I was in Atlantic City watching at Caesar Sportsbooks, and there were so many people happy and disappointed by the silliest things. The time
yeah.
of the national anthem, the color of the Gatorade. I lost on the color of the Gatorade last year and decided that I'm never going to play prop bets like that again.
Oh, people
That's
are
just
mad
that's it.
about the leak. Do you hear about that?
No, what happened?
So basically, they're not. You're not supposed to technically see. It's not. It's like an unwritten rule. You're not supposed to see like what the color it is until it gets poured on the coach. And then
Oh
the
yeah.
camera zoomed in into them stirring the Gatorade and was yellow. And a lot of people on Twitter were losing their minds, like, "Oh, they're not supposed to do that," and all that. It's like okay.
Yeah, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, and my personal day, I should not have added the Patriots plus 5.5 last minute for a half a unit. That was just a reaction to getting the line, the value of the line, because I knew that the value on the Patriots was going to grow on game day. But my big bet of the day was the Super Bowl team total parlay, Seahawks team total over 19.5 and the Patriots team total under 24.5. And that just sailed on by. I'm a little bit nervous at the end of the first half when it was 9-0, which is just an epic score. Um, and then the other big bet that I had was the Patriots Seahawks first half under 22.5. That also didn't even come close. But unfortunately, Holani did not get a second, did not get a few catches. He only had one catch in the game, and Sam Darnold did not end the game with a kneel down because that would have cashed the over 2.5 rushing attempts. But other than that, it was a pretty good game. I'm going to be very excited to see what they do next year. I think it was wild. Oh, one other play that I hit. This was originally for the premium members, but I opened it up to everybody. I had two big money parlays, one on the Patriots side and one on the Seattle side, both for over plus 300. And the Seattle one cashed. And honestly, the Patriots one would have cashed if they kept it within 8.5 points. I could have double cashed that, but that's the draw. So we're going to move on. Any last thoughts before we move on to the day ahead?
Yeah, I would say it's good we're recapping some of these bets. Something I will say that I saw one of my buddies in my Discord was able to get before the game, he put plus 700 for pick six, and then he saw the Nuwaso fumble, and then he was like, "Oh dang it!" But then he realized they claimed it as a pick six. So shout out to him for hitting that.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. I also thought that there was going to be a defensive score. And the DK promo for the longest touchdown, I chose the New England Patriots at plus 550, I want to say. And I really just should have chosen Seattle. They were the better defense anyway.
I
But
will
anyway,
shout out the
yeah.
Patriots defense. They played their heart out.
Oh yeah, listen, they held a very tough Seattle team to just 9 points in the first half, and Christian Gonzalez did a master class in defense against JSN. JSN had no room to move. I think he ended the game with 4 catches, which was just, I mean, that's an unbelievable stat line for your number one alpha wide receiver. And honestly, Cooper Kupp, well done, well done. I know a lot of people who are on his over receptions at plus money at over 3.5, and that was a brilliant look. If he didn't drop 1 or 2 catches, he could have probably ended the day with at least 10 receptions. Um, he just was the open man. He was the other guy that you were gonna bracket JSN. We kind of saw that coming. They let Kenneth Walker beat them in the rush game, which was just an unbelievable. He had 75 rushing yards in the first 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever that was. Unbelievable. Very deserved for the MVP, in my opinion, if you couldn't give it to the entire defense.
I personally, what I would say is, and I know this is skeptical, but I think the MVP should belong to a co-MVP between Michael Dixon and Jason Myers.
Yeah. It's-
Oh, I
yeah.
mean, Myers counted for 17 of the 29 points, broke kind of a record. Michael Dixon was hitting some crazy punts, you know. Yeah, later on the dam broke, but I think those were the most important pieces to the game, you know. So,
Yep. Yep.
just
And I
I don't know.
think we may have
Yes.
seen that you just take the points. Just take the
Yep.
points. Don't go for it on fourth down the first quarter. Dumb. Just take the points, build your lead, get as many. I just don't understand modern NFL with the analytics. Like I understand it, but you're also having a 48% chance of failure when you could just get points on the board. So I just different soapbox, different day. Let's move on to to college basketball today. I didn't really have that much time to prepare. I was driving back from AC, but what do you got for us today? Oh, and huge shout out to you for winning our showdown on Friday. That was brutal. St. John's. Wow. You can bring us into that one as well and gloat a little bit if you want.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll talk about that one. I know there's I don't think there's any hockey games today. We just have NBA, but of course college basketball we have some really good games. But when it comes to the St. John's game, like I said, one of the main reasons I picked him, I think I mentioned in the show, was the turnovers. And St. John's didn't turn over that much, and we saw that a lot in the first half. And something I will say, what I noticed, and kind of I didn't necessarily mention it when we were talking about this game, is UConn, I'm gonna say this. UConn's a really good team. I think they probably win at their home, but UConn hasn't necessarily faced a team like this since Arizona, with a bunch of like athletes that are more athletic than them and they can, like jump higher than we saw the offensive boards. When they faced Arizona, that was a big issue too. It's just, I'm not saying UConn's not athletic, but they just don't have like the athletes that St. John's has. And another thing that I noticed with that game too is when Terrace Reed was out of the game, right? St. John's was having their way. And the problem with Terrace Reed, he's young, he's a young freshman. He's probably the best player on UConn. He can't control his emotions sometimes. He fouls too much, and he had like three quick fouls like that. And usually, I'll tell the refs let him play, but they're really bad fouls. And then Dylan Mitchell, that was another reason why I picked him too. He's number one on St. John's. Ever since they inserted him back in the starting lineup, they've been undefeated. He's a freak of nature. But overall, though, the Johnnies, they pulled away at the end. And UConn couldn't get any easy shots. St. John's was getting whatever shot they want, which I was surprised about because they were getting open shots against this UConn defense left and right. And most importantly, they sped up the pace. I know I mentioned that UConn usually struggles when they face fast tempo teams. We've seen it with Providence, but when they face slow tempo teams like them, they'll dominate them like Creighton or Villanova and such.
Yeah, and I think you did mention that the athletic disparity between the two teams, and you had a very good points that made me a little bit nervous during the show. When I had come into the show, I was fairly confident. When I went out of the show, I wasn't. But you know what? I went 1-1 though because Scotty Scheffler made that run. Not only did he get the -2 that he needed to make the cut on Friday, but he got a -6 on the
He turned
day.
into Scotty.
And then he rolled in and he almost won the whole tournament. He ended up third. Unreal. He is, by gosh, the best golfer of this generation. I don't know if I can say all time really yet, but he's starting to compete at that higher level where he is going to be in a handful of names that are going to reach just the platinum tier of golfers of all time. I mean, that was just an unbelievable performance by Scotty Scheffler this weekend, coming back from just a brutal first round to tie for tying it for a short while and then ending third because he just ran out of holes. Just wild. And Chris got her up, right?
Oh,
That was
I was going to mention that Matsuyama choked. Oh,
oh, he really I thought it was in the bag. I was like, oh yeah, at least Drew won
getting
some
that
money on
bogey
this.
on the final hole when all he had to do was par. Oh man, he had a really bad first hit, man, in that 17th hole, and then he hit it in the water in the playoff, man. Like it hit off a fan's back and then it went in the water. I don't know if you saw that.
That's a brutal break. Yeah. But anyway, bring us into today's slate of college basketball, and we're going to get into some best bets. I have a bet in the NBA that I want to discuss with you, and we'll move on from there.
Perfect. I'm going to add on to your Scotty thing real quick because I wanted to mention this real quick. Is that something I noticed? We've been always looking for another Tiger, like Tiger Woods aura. We thought it was going to be Jordan Spieth. Thought it was going to be Rory. We thought it was going to be this person, and now we finally found one in Scotty. Where when you see him creeping, you get scared. He's the last person I've seen since Tiger. You see that. So I'm going to say that real quick.
Well, I mean, you have to look at the betting odds for all these tournaments. And again, I wasn't betting golf back then, but Tiger Woods, from what I hear, was a plus 100 to plus 200 favorite on any
Yep.
given tournament that he was in.
Yep.
It wasn't even close. We're getting numbers in the plus 400s right now in the beginning of the season, and they're just going to drop the more that he competes like this.
Oh yeah, agree. Yeah.
I think at one point last year it was at like plus 300, plus 250. So not quite Tiger Woods
But
exactly, but I
close.
do want to say that the eras are very different. Tiger
Yeah.
Woods competed in an era where I think that there may have been a little bit less competition, and I think that the competition nowadays is maybe a little bit tighter. But I can get blown up for that and get my my butt
Oh yeah.
handed to me for saying that. But I kind of feel like there's a lot of talent, and that anybody can go off these days. And I wasn't really watching golf back then, so I can't really say. But I don't know if there was a more dominant era than Tiger Woods, but
Yeah.
I think that Scotty
He was
Scheffler's.
dealing with like a lot of scrutiny, of course. That's something about Tiger. He had to deal with like the mental block, saying like, he's a 17-year-old, he's African American, he shouldn't be playing golf, like that kind of stuff. And then he was like, I'm still gonna dominate you, you know, and he did. That was impressive. But yeah.
Yeah, and not that I really want to get into it, but what
Yeah,
did
oh
you
yeah, I
think of
know.
the halftime show? I thought it
Oh
was
yeah.
fun.
I've never been I've never been necessarily a fan of Bad Bunny, so I feel like I can't speak on it, but I didn't necessarily like it. So yeah.
Fair enough. I was putting my kid to sleep during halftime, so I kind of missed the whole thing. I just heard my little brother complaining about it, and I'm like, "What are you complaining about?" Like, whatever. Like, you do let them do whatever the heck they want. This is just a game. This is just a halftime show. Nobody complained when Shakira was on because you had, just whatever. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's move on to college basketball before I get myself
perfect.
into trouble.
So, of course, I'm not going to necessarily have any play in my Jayhawks Arizona game, but of course, we'll review it for your guys' viewership. So, I'll do that last if that's okay.
Hey man,
Perfect.
you do you. You're
Yeah,
you are
perfect.
you are a full on part of the show. You can
Yeah.
you can control the show if you want.
Perfect. So I would say we have some pretty good Power Five conference games or Power Four technically. But so the first one I would like to say is we have NC State at Louisville. And I think NC State at Louisville is going to be a really good game, but there's something wrong with this game. There's no way NC State should be, plus 6.5. That's absolutely ridiculous to me. You look at the metrics actually favor NC State over Louisville. And like if you look at NC State, like yes, they haven't had as good as a strength of schedule as Louisville, but NC State has beaten better teams. They're also undefeated on the road, right? And another thing that you can like look at as well is if you compare the teams that NC State and Louisville played like head to head wise, what they played common opponents, NC State beats them in that. NC State's a great 3-point shooting team. They have a better defense. Louisville's not good at guarding the three. And it's weird because something about NC State I have noticed is when they go on the road, they actually play better than at home. Like they'll struggle at home against certain teams, but when they go on the road, like they beat Clemson at Clemson. I think that's Clemson only has like 2 ACC losses at home. Louisville, I've seen them lose games they definitely shouldn't have. They lose by 30 to Duke. I'm sorry, I'm going to give you shame for losing to 30 to Duke. In my personal opinion, no matter how good they are, you shouldn't lose to them more than Boston College did. So, and then another one you can make homage. They went to Stanford. They blew an egg at Stanford. It's just overall, I'm not entirely impressed with this Louisville team. I think NC State can win.
Well, I just bet it live on the show. Plus 6.5 at minus
Yeah.
110 over on Caesars or MGM. Those are live odds. And yeah, I think that's a good look, man. And it looks like most of the public and sharp money are pretty much with you.
Because I think NC State's going to gain steam personally. Because I know on Fanatics it was +7 and it dropped to +6.5, right? So I think we might see +4.5 before game time. In my opinion, this is one of those. And also when NC State does lose, they don't lose by a terrible amount. Actually, their double-digit losses in conference are at home. There's something about their home crowd; they don't like them. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, it looks like they're on a really nice roll right now. So, and they played, yeah, you're right. They played some really tough teams. I'm looking at their schedule now. This is a really good look, man. What else you got
And
for us?
winning at
Oh,
Clemson is hard. And also, they probably feel disrespected because Louisville is ranked 24th and they're not ranked and they actually have a better record than Louisville. So they probably feel disrespected. But I would say my other one is this is one of those let's not overthink it plays, like one of those double ups. And, I'll stare at it and I'll be like, can this be like too good to be true? I've done that multiple times before, and they end up hitting. So, and you trust my instincts. So, it's going to be a double up St. John's halftime full time. I think it's like minus 400, and then pair it with Indiana halftime full time minus 210 equals minus 122. Um, like we really can't overthink this one personally, in my opinion. Because well, first off, I'll start with St. John's. I know people because like the first game between St. John's and Xavier, it was really weird. Xavier led I think it was like 49-37 at half, and they ended up barely winning at Xavier. And I don't know if you know this, but Rick Pitino's son coaches Xavier, so people believe Rick Pitino has a soft spot for his son. But I think he's kind of done with that now after winning that UConn game. He's probably going to put the foot on the gas and just want to win this one wire to wire. The metrics favor St. John's over Xavier. Xavier has been a very disappointing team this year, but they just don't have the recruits that they did in the past. Their best player, Xavier, is one of the best in the conference, and Carroll. I'm a big fan of him, but I think this game being at MSG, the lights may be too bright for the Xavier players here. And usually, when I see a superior team in the first game struggle, they usually come out and blow that team out the next time around. So that's the first part.
And just quickly for our listeners out there, you can find this on DraftKings under game lines if you're
Yep.
looking at this for this bet.
And scroll all the way down. Yeah.
That
I don't
that
know if
is a
you had a
very
take on that
important part
St.
of the bet.
John's. Yeah.
No, I think this is a really solid look. I'm not sure
Yeah.
that Xavier's going to really. I mean, this is just their home court. They're clearly a better team. They have better metrics across the board. Like this is. There's a reason why their money line is minus 1450.
And I'd
So
rather just take halftime, full time, for minus
yeah,
410. It's like,
I think
it's
that's
one of
an
those.
excellent look.
I think Vegas is doing that because they partially think that, Rick Pitino has a soft spot for his son, but I think that's going to go to the side now because in the first game, he kind of let off the gas. He's like, okay, I'm done now. I gave you a chance, but you didn't win.
Hey, listen, if it was my kid that I was playing against, I would crush him.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know. It's funny. Rick Pitino is one of the most hard fought coaches, right? And I'm very surprised he has like the only time he has a soft spot is for his son. But you already know his. Usually, you after emotional wins, you come out lacking. But I think since St. John's beat them, is going to beat UConn. It's doing the opposite. They think they can beat anybody now. Like I think it's going to raise their egos in a good way. They're like, hey, we're better. Like we can be the best team in the nation. So. Um, the
Ye-
next. Oh, go ahead.
No, no, no. I was just going to prompt you for the second half of it. That's all.
Oh yeah, the second one is so we have Oregon at Indiana. Oregon actually almost beat Purdue last time around, and I think this is a good buy low spot for Indiana. I know that's crazy to say for a minus 10.5 and a big money line, but if it wasn't for Oregon almost beating Purdue, I think Indiana would be favored by like 16.5. But the problem is when you think about this is Oregon, yes, they only lost by 4 to Purdue, but Purdue was struggling to score. I mean, you think about this. Oregon, it's not like they scored 80 points. They scored 64 points. Like they did not shoot well at all. And one of the most efficient teams in the country in Purdue just laid an egg offensively. They're getting open looks. They just weren't hitting things. And personally, this is going to be an assembly hall, which I think is one of the best names for any college arena in basketball in Indiana. Indiana, in my opinion, they need to win this game because like they've won some really good Big Ten games and they've also lost some games they shouldn't. They just come out with an emotional victory in Assembly Hall against Wisconsin, where they won in overtime. I know some people can make the case that the refs helped him, but you know what? They won at the end of the day. Indiana has beaten some really good teams like Purdue and UCLA, and let me see. Yeah, Purdue and UCLA in that case, but then they lose at USC. They've lost to Michigan, Iowa, Michigan State, Nebraska, right? It's just one of those things where if you're looking at them, they just can't afford any more losses to these top teams because after this game, they have to go at Illinois, then they have to go at Purdue, and then they face three not so great teams in Northwestern, Minnesota, and Ohio State. So I just think Indiana wins this one wire to wire. I still am not a believer of this Oregon team. I don't think they've scored 70 points in a long time. And even though they got one of their starters, Biddle, back, I still don't trust this offense, in my personal opinion, because I'm looking at it right now. The last time Oregon has scored 70 points or more was January 17th. Um, so, I mean, this is just one of those where I think if Indiana is going to win this game, they're going to win this wire to wire.
Yeah, I think you're on the money there, and I wouldn't necessarily trust the spread at over 10.5, but I think that getting them to win halftime, full time is an excellent look. Um, yeah, Indiana should roll at home.
Yeah, and this is my take on the halftime, full time for anybody who's listening is if you see that there's a big spread like 10.5 or 11.5, they probably, it's like 90% of the time they would have to win halftime most likely. Did that. There's a rare 10% of the time if they don't win it, they just blow them out the water in the second half, so taking that is always good and another double up. So
Yeah, I honestly I like this bet a lot when I'm betting favorites in the MLB. I'll take the first five plus the full game money line for a reduced price. I think it's an excellent look. I think we can really get a lot of value there. Even this past season, I played a lot with that in the NFL games where you have let's say Seattle playing, I don't know, Tennessee or something like that. You kind of get the juice down a little bit because like they're not going to lose, most likely at
exactly.
least.
And if you see a 10.5 spread, you might as well take that. But yeah, and I'll say for baseball, if you see a dominant pitcher, that's what I like to do. It's like, hey, dominant pitcher, they have a good offense. Like Yoshi's pitching for the Dodgers. Like, hey, do first five. You know, so because the Dodgers bullpen isn't that great, or something like that. So
Yeah,
that's what you can do. But to go on
I am.
to the oh, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, I'm just so excited for baseball to come back. We're
Oh,
at like
so am I.
36 days left.
I know. I'm so excited for the WBC Classic. Maybe they'll have some good stuff there too.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm excited to watch that this year. I missed it last year. I was traveling, but yeah. All right. Anyway, sorry. Get to us. Get to your
oh,
last play.
so actually, those are my end of my plays, but I'm going to give some advice for being a Kansas fan for the Kansas
Yeah.
Arizona game.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
as you
yeah.
see,
I know you're a fan, and I actually have a lean on this play on this game. Not that I'm playing.
so Arizona at Kansas. Arizona have opened at -2.5, and then I think it went to -3, and now it's -1.5, I believe. I'm going to say some neat facts about this game when it comes to this. Let me double check what is now. Yeah, it's -1.5 now for Arizona, -115. So here's the thing about Allen Fieldhouse, right? And I know people like to keep on, fading Kansas this year, but they don't realize the aura of Allen Fieldhouse. And like many commentators have said this. This is the greatest home court you can ever go to. Calipari actually said in a quote one time when he was still at Kentucky is when you go into that arena, and he doesn't like Kansas, by the way. Going to the arena feels like a cathedral. The sound pushes you on the ground. You have to prevent yourself from going on the ground. And we saw recently Iowa State going to Allen Fieldhouse laying 3.5, and they lost by 21. We saw BYU go in there and they were +2.5 and they lost by 8. It was actually more, but Kansas let their foot off the gas, let them come back a little. And a neat fact about Kansas is in the Bill Self era, since he became the coach in the beginning of 2023, so 22 years, Kansas has been underdogs 3 times, including the Iowa State one this year, only 3 times at Allen Fieldhouse. And they've won every single game. So, and also Bill Self is 342-22 in that arena. So I would recommend. It's not a good idea to fade Kansas. I'm not being biased, but when they are underdogs at home, they don't usually lose. So
Yeah, I'm actually on the same page as you. I played a boost for a +4.5, just because I was able to get decent price on that over on DK with a boost there. But yeah, I think you're 100%, and I think that if Kansas is able to control the tempo, play a little bit slower, they can force this into a grind, and Arizona's efficiency should drop dramatically. And I do not necessarily think, um, yeah, I don't know if they win or lose, but I definitely think it's a 1 or 2 possession game at the end of it. You there? All right, just take yourself off mute. I think you might have
Oh,
accidentally hit
sorry,
mute.
it's my bad. Something I will say this game, Arizona is not a great 3-point shooting team. In conference, I think they only shoot around 32%. They get a lot of their points in the paint, and they can usually dominate teams in the paint. But people need to realize they still haven't played Houston. They still haven't played Iowa State. They haven't played Texas Tech or Kansas yet, right? While Kansas has played, BYU like Arizona has. They barely beat BYU. And then and Kansas has played Texas Tech and they beat them at their home. And the thing about Kansas, right, is they are really good at defending the paint with their two bigs. The first game I ever seen Toppin, if you saw the last game, Toppin went 5 of 18 against Baduga and Tiller, and because they were guarding the paint, and they were just forcing Tech to shoot threes, and they couldn't. And I think KU has the size because they're a really big team. They have guards that are 6'6" and 6'7". They have two 6'11" people in the middle. And another thing is, yes, Arizona's defense is really good, but Kansas, to me, like I know the size on KenPom may not match it, but they're actually a bigger team in the front than Arizona is in that case because they have two 6'11" bigs, which is a big advantage. They have two 6'7" guards and Trey White and Darren Peterson. He's like 6'6". But I think the key to this, in my opinion, this game overall, is how loud Allen Fieldhouse is going to be, and if Arizona, that young team, can handle that loudness. Because actually, the last time they came into Allen Fieldhouse was last year, and they lost by around like 8 or so points. So we'll see. And that's when they had a Caleb Love and stuff. They weren't as good, but I think we have a good chance of winning this game. And this may be the loudest we've ever heard Allen Fieldhouse in a long time.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to watching it. But let's transition to professional basketball now. Do you have any looks before I get started on my own pick?
Yeah, something I was actually interested in was let me make sure pull it up right here and I get the right one because I checked it last night as well. Where is it? I think I found it. Yeah. So this line actually dropped. It was 242.5. It's at 239.5. I might do it. I don't know, but I like it. Utah Jazz at Miami Heat. These are both two like fast kind of tempo teams. They both like to score a lot, especially with Jazz with Jaren Jackson now and the Miami Heat who like to score a lot of points. I feel like 239.5 is too low. Personally, I think I can see this game in the 260s or 270s. In my personal opinion, if I had a lean, it would be there.
Yeah, I think that's a sharp look as well. And it looks like all the sharp money, 75% of it is with you. Well, only 70% of the public is there. So it's definitely an edge and a look that I would definitely start taking advantage of. Maybe I'll sprinkle a little bit on that just to see how it plays out at the end there.
I've
I
seen too
am
many Heat
going,
games score a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, I hear that. I'm going to go to OKC at LA. We are missing Luca. We are missing SGA, and I'm going to go with the Road Dogs. I just think that we've talked about on the show many times. The Lakers, without their two big players, Luca and LeBron, they're not that intimidating, and they're not that great unless they get into the fourth quarter within reaching distance, and then they can just shut down the game with their two insane players. Without Luca, that all falls apart, and I don't think that they're going to be able to keep pace with a system that is just infinitely better than them. OKC is that system that can just destroy you. They can play fast. They have defense. They don't have any real holes. They have depth. Granted, we've seen them a little bit shaky lately, but gosh, I don't think the Lakers have shown me anything better, right? I just think that they're going to win this by double digits. This might just be a complete blowout by the end of it. I don't really see this being close. This is by far one of my best rated plays by my model that I have seen yet for NBA. So, I get it. Home dogs is a fun play, but I think that we're actually catching excuse me, I think we're actually catching value because of that. And I'm gonna take one of the better defenses in the league to shut down an offense without their best offensive score. Any thoughts there?
No, I definitely agree with you personally. Um, I really wasn't impressed with the win the Lakers had against the Warriors when they didn't have Steph and such. Like they hadn't pull away until later. I actually liked the Thunder there in that spot because I believe who was it the Thunder played the other day? Oh yeah, they played the Rockets. They lost without SGA at home, but I think that was just a bad overall matchup for them.
Yeah,
So
Rockets have incredible defense. Like, I'm not
yeah,
gonna fault them
I just don't
for
trust the
losing.
Lakers.
And honestly, the fact that they lost the last two games makes this a lot more attractive to me because it feels like a must-win game where I think the motivation from the team is going to be on point going to LA. And LA is on a winning streak right now. And you're right, they won Golden State, they won Philadelphia. I'm not going to count the win against Brooklyn because it's Brooklyn. And I think that these really good wins without their star player now is going to collapse epically. I don't think it's going to be close. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I
anything.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
sorry,
definitely
go on.
agree with you there. I don't think it's going to be as close as people think it is, and I don't know what like Lakers are one of those teams. I don't know what it is, but it seems like they do worse at home. I don't know. It's when I watch them play, especially. But if I had any other picks personally, another game that I was looking at is the Bucks Magic, the under possibly in that game, or when
Oh, I
it
love that play. That
yeah.
was actually like my second rated. My model had that as the second best play on the day.
Yeah, I just feel like that's too many. Yeah, it's definitely too many points. Oh, it moved up to 219.5. I remember I saw 218.5 yesterday. And not just that, it's going to keep moving up because under 219.5 is minus 105. So that says the people are betting the over. So,
Yeah, and I hear that on a lower total overall, but without Giannis, they don't have transitions. I'm not sure how they're going to score, and the Magic aren't going to be keeping pace. They play one of the slowest paces in all of in the whole league.
yeah, and they struggle to score as it is sometimes. Like, I mean, like you can't really, like, that's the thing is, like, Vegas is too much looking at their last two games because the last two games were against the Jazz and Nets where they scored 120 and 118, which are two of the worst defenses, personally, in my opinion. But if you look at the games before that, right, when they faced the Thunder and the Spurs, right, they only scored 92 against the Thunder, only 103 against the Spurs. Right, I know the Bucks don't necessarily aren't well, but something the Bucks do is like even though they can't like score offensively, they can play some good defense. I'll say that.
Yeah, yeah. And another team that can play good defense that I'm going to be interested in seeing tonight is Cleveland at Denver. This game is essentially a pick 'em, and I think this is going to be probably the game of the night. I couldn't pull the trigger on anything, but I think that the under is probably a good look in this game as well.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that actually because I always like unders in my personal opinion when it comes going to the mile high area, right? Because people get tired, right? The home team is more adjusted to it. I'm not saying like, the Nuggets are going to necessarily win. So that's why I think the under is the key. It's just there's not as much high scoring games between like two elite teams, in my opinion. And also the Nuggets can play pretty slow and so can the Cavs.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, for running out of gas in sports, I will never forget how the Bills ran out of gas in Denver in
Oh
that
yeah, they were
postseason.
exhausted.
It was just it was over. Like you saw it, their mental, they were just done physically. And it takes a real toll traveling and then having to play in Mile High City. The other lean that I had was Detroit over Charlotte. Not I get it. Charlotte's shiny, it's new, it's fun, it's shooting, but Detroit has been dominant this year, and I don't think that they deserve to only be favorites by 2.5 points. I would have made this line a lot more than that. But anyway, that's it for me in basketball. My best bet here, just to recap, I don't think I actually said it out right, was the OKC minus 6.5. I got this at minus 110 over, I think at Caesars, was it? Anything else before we close up shop today?
No, nothing else from me.
Alrighty. So yeah, thank you all for listening. We're going to come out. Oh, there was one other thing that I wanted to mention. In Olympic hockey, this is not something that I'm an expert in any way, shape, or form, but I think that there is value at plus 175 on the US men's hockey team to win it. all. They were the favorites coming in. Not sure if that had to do with being in America, the US, I should say, and then having the public consensus on that, or if they are truly the elite team that everyone thinks they are. But I think that the value at plus 175 is definitely there. By the way, have you seen anything in the Olympics? Any betting angles? Any fun competitions that we should be paying attention to?
Oh, I was gonna say, I haven't paid as much attention to hockey as I should, but something I will say is shout out to the. I was going to do it, but I didn't. But shout out to the U.S. Olympic or was it U.S. Olympic curling team? They started off 3-0 for like the first time in the Winter Olympic history. So they were doing really well. I was watching, of course, some bobsledding and some snowboarding, but I would say, yeah, definitely just enjoy the sports we're seeing. I was going to look more into hockey though. The USA team, I know they're favored. I know they're favored, but the Canada team does still scare me a little bit for how good they are. But it looks like the USA team can be playing well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my pre-pick on this was to take the value with Canada. Now I'm just hedging my bets.
Yeah. Hey,
Um,
I think it's going to come down to them too at the end of the day.
yeah, yeah, yep, definitely is. And if you can hedge on both sides, then you can kind of pick your winner. But anyway, that's going to be it for all of us here at the Only Bet Sports podcast. Me, Drew. Please give us a listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Like us, rate us. We really appreciate it. We hit 1,000 listens in the first 3 weeks. This is the first day of the fourth week doing this. So within a month, we've already hit over 1,000 listens on this podcast, and that's not including the live numbers and the listens on Twitter itself. So the number is actually probably a little bit higher than that. We're having a great time. We're starting to structure the show a little bit more, getting some good cappers in here, like Drew, who's been unbelievable for us and the brand. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.